We were in a relationship for 4 years, and I worked as an assistant to Soren Fu for 4 years, worked diligently to make the company bigger and stronger. When I was about to be promoted to general manager, he suddenly came in as my first love and took my place. He smiled calmly and said as a matter of course, "Ivy is the daughter of the big boss. She studied abroad. You are not as good as her in terms of education or family background." I questioned him angrily. He said sarcastically, "The company is mine. You are just a secretary. You have no right to comment on my decisions. Nova Bai. If you don't know what's good for you, get out of here." I laughed. "You want me to get out? Then don't blame me for withdrawing my investment and changing the company's ownership. I am still the first one to arrive at the company in the morning. Only after preparing the materials to be launched and the contracts to be signed did the colleagues go to work one after another." Seeing me working diligently, my colleague joked, "You are the general manager now, so you can let us, the little guys, do this kind of work." Soren Fu is really something. It's so cold in the morning in winter, but you didn't even bother to let me come back later. I smiled and said modestly, "The promotion notice has not been sent out yet. We are all comrades, in arms, and there is no distinction between superiors and subordinates." My colleague waved his hand and said, "It has not been decided yet. You are the only candidate. Your contribution to the company over the years is obvious to all. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have agreed to the position of general manager." This is not an exaggeration. The beginning of the company was extremely difficult. It was my hard work in attracting investments, signing contracts, and helping Soren Fu to deal with partners that led us to the current successful market. Although I appear modest on the surface, I know exactly what I am doing. This position belongs to me. My colleague took a look at me at the door and shouted to me, "Nova Bai, Mr. Fu asked you to go to the meeting room." I nodded with a smile and walked over quickly. The door of the conference room opened and Soren Fu sat in the main seat. He was wearing a dark gray suit, with one of his shirt buttons missing. He folded his hands and looked at me with sharp eyes behind his glasses. My steps and smile stopped, because next to him, there was a pretty little girl sitting. Her hair was messy and her lipstick was smudged. There is also a beautiful kite brooch on her chest. It was a birthday present I gave him when we first started dating in our sophomore year. We have been in love for 6 years now, but ironically, this brooch is on someone else. She even greeted me with a smile. "Hello, sister. My name is Ivy Song." Soren Fu in college. Meeting her provocative gaze and the ambiguous kiss mark deliberately left on Bo's neck, there was nothing unclear. My heart sank, but I forced myself to calm down and asked knowingly, "Soren Fu, who is this?" Soren Fu coughed lightly and avoided my gaze guiltily. "This is my junior schoolmate, a PhD who studied abroad. She will be the general manager in the future." I froze in place, feeling ridiculous. I have worked diligently for the company for 4 years, and you just parachute someone in to take my place. Everyone in the industry knows that I am not the type of person who will swallow my anger, so I walked slowly to their side and sat down, tapping the table with my fingertips, and asked slowly, "Study abroad, which country, which university?" I said, "If I really have the ability, I will accept this job arrangement." Soren Fu looked angry, and the woman looked a little panicked. He said coldly, "This is confidential. I can't tell you. Nova Bai. I am the boss and you are my subordinate. You have no right to comment on my decision. That is a fake university that is not worth mentioning." A colleague passed by the door and heard everything clearly. He angrily spoke up for me and said, "What do you mean, Professor Fu? Are you going to destroy the bridge after crossing it and then throw it away?" Soren Fu smiled calmly and said as a matter of course, "Ivy is the daughter of the SQ president, and she studied abroad. Nova Bai is inferior to her in terms of education and family background." I frowned and was about to say something. The colleague has already spoken again. "How much contribution has Nova Bai made to the company? What has she done? Why does she take the position that belongs to Nova Bai?" Soren Fu's expression darkened, and he looked at me with obvious fear. "I'm the president. I make the decision on this matter. Do you guys not recognize my position?" I looked at him coldly and felt that he was really powerful. He completely forgot about the time when he just graduated and cried and begged me, a top student, to support his career. I suffered double betrayal in my career and relationship at the same time, but I held back because I didn't want to make it too embarrassing in front of others. But now he has trampled on my face and made it clear that he is determined to protect the mistress to the end. I was so disgusted that I raised my hand and slapped him. "Soren Fu, you cheated on your wife and then brought your mistress with you. Isn't that disgusting?" Before he could react, I slapped Ivy Song in the face again. "You too. You are so proud of being a mistress. Aren't you a slut? Ivy Song was stunned and screamed while covering her face. By the time Soren Fu came to his senses, I had already hidden behind my colleague. Soren Fu is a hypocritical, selfish and conscious person. His colleagues looked at him with great contempt. He didn't dare to attack me, so he could only grit his teeth and say, "Nova Bai, what are you talking about? Jishu and I are innocent. I just admire her talent." I sneered. "Are you enjoying it on the bed? Don't force me to slap you in the face." He choked. Originally I wasn't sure whether the two people had any actual behavior, but now it seems true. But Soren Fu quickly adjusted himself. He leaned back in the leather chair and looked at me with disdain. "Nova Bai, everything I do is for the future of the company. SQ is the best in the industry and can bring us huge profits." Jishu promised me that she would persuade her father to give this order to the company. Listening to his hypocritical and pale explanation, I lowered my eyes and laughed angrily. Mr. Fu is really great, selling himself for fame. Soren Fu likes the sense of accomplishment of being in control of everything, and when I provoked him like this, he became furious. He slammed the table and said, "Nova Bai, if you don't know what's good for you, get out." I didn't move, but looked at Ivy Song and said leisurely, "If I remember correctly, the boss of SQ is not named Song." Ivy Song's face flashed with a hint of guilt, but she quickly became arrogant again. "I take my mother's last name." I nodded thoughtfully. In fact, Soren Fu will find the flaw if he thinks about it carefully. Ivy Song was really the daughter of the richest man. Why did she abandon him for money? But he was willing to indulge himself, even at the cost of our 6 years of relationship. I don't want this kind of garbage anymore. I stood up and met his angry eyes with a smile in front of all my colleagues. "Mr. Fu, I resign. I don't have much stuff, just piled up in a small corner." The company was having a difficult time at the beginning and the space was not big enough, so I had to settle for the next best thing and work in an unventilated corner. The summers were hot and humid, and the winters were cold, but I got through them all by myself. While I was moving out my stuff, Soren Fu was setting up Ivy Song's office. I could see everything clearly through the glass floor. 2 ceiling windows, a spacious and bright office with comfortable tables, soft seats and sofas for people to rest. Everything was in stark contrast to my bleak workstation. After 6 years of relationship, it would be a lie to say I'm not sad, but what I feel more is heartbreak. After the company grew bigger, he had enough capital to get me a better job, but he didn't. Occasionally I complained, but he just brushed it off with a nonchalant response. There's nothing to complain about in an office space. The only thing that matters is the ability to create value for the company. I thought he was used to being poor, so I didn't say anything. But now that he has given Ivy Song all the best things with great fanfare, I realized that he is not stingy. He just doesn't want to spend a penny on me. When I was leaving with the cardboard box, Ivy Song blocked me at the door. "Sister, you can't just leave like this." She stared at me warily and said to Soren Fu, "Han Sheng, Nova Bai has many orders in hand. We can't just leave like this. We have to hand them over to the company." Soren Fu nodded. "Nova Bai, complete the handover with Jishu before leaving." Even though I was disappointed, I still stared at him in disbelief. When the company was first founded, I drank so much that I fainted several times in order to get orders for the company, and I finally managed to sign the contract. These partners are all obtained through my hard work. Others may not know this, but Soren Fu, who is always by my side, knows it all the time. At that time, a wealthy woman was attracted by his appearance and said to him in a cryptic way, "Xiao Fu, as long as you have a drink with me, we can cooperate." Soren Fu was aloof by nature and could not stand such humiliation. He left on the spot with a livid face. The rich woman was very unhappy about being humiliated. I smiled and drank the glass of white wine on the table. "Don't be angry, Mr. Lee, he has a bad temper. I will drink with you." The rich woman snorted coldly. "Okay, then you can drink with me on his behalf. If you can get me drunk, not only will I forgive you for what happened, I will also inject capital into you. It depends on whether Miss Bai has the ability to do so." I gritted my teeth and, with amazing willpower, drank an incalculable amount of liquor. Before the rich woman got drunk, she looked at me with praise and sighed. "Nova Bai, you have courage and determination. You will have a bright future in my company. Why do you have to stay in a small workshop company?" At that time, I was deeply in love with Soren Fu and politely declined. That night, I took the contract, went home drunk, and vomited all over the place. Soren Fu patted my back with red eyes and whispered, "I'm sorry Nova, I shouldn't be so willful. I promise that I won't let anyone get hurt again." I took out a kite brooch from my pocket, and handed it to him with a pale face and a smile. Soren Fu, happy birthday. He hugged me at that time, and his hot tears fell into my collar. At that time, he probably really loved me, but in the end, he was the one who suspected me, despised me, and betrayed me. Looking at Ivy Song's provocative face, I took a deep breath and smiled instead. Okay, I'll leave both the business and the man to you. I wish you amazing performance, soaring to the sky, and a successful love and career. Soren Fu's face darkened, and he put his arm around Ivy Song's shoulders, not just to show off or something. Nova Bai, I hope you won't regret it later. After the cooperation with SQ started, even if you begged me with tears, I would not let you come back. I smiled and said, I don't regret it. I don't know whether the cooperation will start. All I know is that Ivy Song will have a hard time in the future. I negotiated with those partners one by one, and they only recognized me. If I changed someone else, they wouldn't buy it, but I won't remind her. I'm looking forward to seeing the show. I went out to travel for a few months, which was considered a good vacation for myself. During this period, colleagues at the company sent me messages to complain. Sister Nova, that Ivy Song seems to be mentally ill. He is always making fun of us. It's not easy in the current environment. If you are not satisfied with the work and get fired, you will have no place to cry. What you said about working hard. Actually, you just think that everyone misses you and no one is flattering her, so you are trying to intimidate us. Another colleague made a sharp comment. This parachuted young lady has strong limbs but a simple mind. Not only did she not understand the bidding plan we prepared, but she also said that what our team produced was not colloquial enough. In just a few days, several of our partners were unhappy. In short, they finally came to only one conclusion. Sister, if you join the new company, we will quit our jobs and work with you. Without them telling me, I could probably guess how serious the situation was. All the partners called me. All of them were confused and helpless. Bye. Why did the contact suddenly change? Then he said politely, this person's work efficiency is too low. It would be better for you to contact us in person. I was on the beach, basking in the sun and drinking red wine, and I smiled and said, sorry, I quit my job, resign. As the news spread, I received olive branches one after another. They all have an annual salary of 1 million and are very sincere, which is in stark contrast to Soren Fu's stingy 15,000. I politely declined each one and just said that I had my own ideas. After playing outside for more than a month, the scenery along the way has healed my emotional sadness and distress. After the plane landed, I called my father and said, Dad, I want to go back and inherit the family business. On the phone, my father's voice was very surprised. Why, are you finally willing to leave Soren Fu? I lowered my eyes and said truthfully, don't laugh at me. He cheated on me and kicked me out of the company. My dad was furious. I saw from the beginning that he was not a good person. If I had known this would happen, I would have broken your legs rather than let you suffer with him. There is no need to be so radical. My father only has me as his only daughter, and he loves me like the apple of his eye. I was so stupid back then that I was fooled by the sweet words and chose Soren Fu. As a result, his head was broken and bleeding. Fortunately, I know how to turn back. I called a few colleagues and said, I found a new job. If any of you want to work with me, you can quit your job. I'll pay the penalty. Colleagues were delighted. Great. Sister Nova, which company are you working for now? I smiled mysteriously. You will know once you come here. When I met with several colleagues under the SQ building, their expressions were all extremely confused. When they saw me driving over, they came up to me as if they had just woken up from a dream. Sister Nova, you joined SQ and brought us in. I can't get into a big company like SQ even if I try my best. Am I dreaming? I was amused. Let's go and complete the entry procedures. My father was waiting for me in the conference room. When he saw me leading them in, he smiled kindly. Thank you for taking care of my daughter. I'll treat you to a meal when I have time. A colleague blinked and stood there in a daze. Sister Nova, is she your daughter? My dad said proudly. Look at how we look. Can we be wrong? Another colleague looked at me and said in a floating tone, Nova, you are the daughter of the boss of SQ. Then Ivy Song. I smiled. Fake. My dad was puzzled. What fake? Speaking of this, my colleague told my father the whole story indignantly, without any exaggeration. It was all true. Several other colleagues added other things one after another. Listening to this now, I don't feel any more upset. My father's eyes were red with heartache and he said he would support me. Originally, because of me, my father was planning to reach a cooperation with the company and give Soren Fu a boost. Soren Fu is so proud, but now, My dad snorted coldly. Spread the news that SQ will hold a bidding meeting for this cooperation. Nova, you and your people will be in charge of this bidding meeting. Soren Fu again at the bidding venue. He looked much more tired. Because there are too many people participating in the bidding, we are too busy to handle it. I simply brought my work badge and went out to receive the guests. Ivy Song took his arm and looked at me sarcastically. Oh my god, sister, you left the company and came here to do odd jobs, or you can beg me and Han Xing, and we can let you go back and be a clerk. I was speechless. I don't care. Soren Fu stared at me with his amber eyes, complex emotions surging in his eyes. He opened his mouth. Nova, are you doing well after leaving the company? I no longer have feelings for him. It was my love that gilded him. And I thought his arrogance was aloofness and his resentment was a feeling of being unappreciated. But looking back now, I feel calm. I smiled politely. Mr. Fu, I'm fine. Ivy Song pulled Soren Fu's arm and walked up to me domineeringly. You appear here just to attract Han Xing's attention, right? I'm telling you, Han Xing only loves me, and we're already planning on getting married. After saying this, she shook the diamond ring on her hand. I saw Soren Fu frowning, and the impatience in his eyes could not be concealed. I heard that Ivy Song messed up a lot of orders and the company lost a lot of money. If it can't revive by relying on SQ's business, the listing will probably fail. Isn't this the white moonlight that he has been thinking about all the time? It won't be long before it turns into mosquito blood. Men's bad nature is really terrible. Perhaps Soren Fu has been able to endure until now because of Ivy Song's false identity as the only daughter of the SQ boss. I curled my lips. Then congratulations. Soren Fu stared at me closely, with a hint of regret in his eyes, but was still pulled to a seat by Ivy Song. I only had time to go to the bathroom after I had received the companies participating in the bidding. Soren Fu, who came out to smoke in the corridor, when he saw me, he was stunned for a moment, then walked to my side and looked at me lovingly. Nova, I know you're having a hard time, but it was also because I was too impulsive and said things without thinking. I frowned. What do you want to say? There's still a lot of things to prepare for. He tried to grab my hand, but I quickly dodged it. His fingertips missed and his eyes looked a little hurt. Nova, are you still mad at me? He said. I still love you, and I can't bear to see you go through such a hard time. Just follow me. I'll make sure you have plenty of food and clothing. For a moment, I didn't know where to start scolding him, which I of his saw how hard I was going. Aren't you and Ivy Song going to get married? I sneered. Why, are you going back to your ex again? He was a little displeased. I am giving you this opportunity because I pity you. As for Jishu, as long as I am careful, she won't find out. I used to think he was selfish and cold-hearted. Only now do I realize how two-faced he is. It's disgusting. I pushed his hands away, slapped him twice, and said, Are you a slut? Soren Fu was irritated. His face darkened. If you miss me, you will regret it. After marrying Jishu, I will be the son-in-law of the SQ boss and will inherit the family business in the future. When her father dies, won't I have the final say on how to deal with her? He said. Except for the status, I can give you everything you want. I didn't expect that he had this in mind. Originally, I had no intention of taking revenge on him. After all, it was my own choice to suffer with him. No one forced me, so I have to bear the consequences myself. But now, I changed my mind. How can such a rotten person hold such a high position and be supported by my hard work? He doesn't deserve it. At the bidding site, I stayed behind the scenes and watched each company come on stage one by one. Among these people, only Soren Fu was confident, as if everything was in his pocket. Ivy Song beside him had a pale face, as if she was extremely scared. The speeches on the stage ended one by one, and it was Soren Fu's turn. However, when they opened the PPT, everyone was shocked. Not only is it not beautiful and concise, the content is simple, and the introduction is incoherent. There is no formulaic language, and it all looks like vernacular at first glance. Fu Wenqing looked at the big screen, his face looking as ugly as if he had swallowed a fly. In such an occasion, with many famous company CEOs present, he was truly embarrassed. For such a face-conscious person, it is more painful than killing him. He almost forced himself to finish the entire speech, but his logic was confusing, which made many people present frown and whisper. The bidding results will be announced in a week. Soren Fu and Ivy Song arguing in the corridor. The man's eyes were cold. Jishu, I gave you full authority over this bidding meeting. How did you check it? When Nova Bai was here, there was never such a mistake. Do you know how embarrassing this is? You've completely disgraced me. Ivy Song cried in grievance. What do you mean? Are you still obsessed with Nova Bai? Have you forgotten what you told me before? No matter what I did wrong, you would tolerate me unconditionally. Do you dislike me now? It's just a bidding meeting. Do you really need to yell at me? Soren Fu took a deep breath and rubbed his brows, seeming to have a headache. Then he reluctantly softened his voice and said, suppressing his anger, I'm sorry Jishu. I was too impulsive. You are the one I love the most. How could I dislike you? This bidding meeting is very important to our company, so I said that in anger. Ivy Song leaned in his arms, wiping her tears. He said aggrievedly, don't do this again next time. Soren Fu responded in a friendly voice, after all, he is your father. He will clean up the mess you made, right? Ivy Song responded vaguely, saying that she had an appointment and had to go shopping first. After she left, I slowly walked out and made some sarcastic remarks. The bidding meeting has become a joke as it has lost such a big person. Soren Fu, I'm afraid the cooperation with SQ is over. Soren Fu looked gloomy, but still confident. Jishu is the daughter of SQ's boss. There won't be any problems. I smiled and said, no problem. The premise for him to help you clean up the mess is that you are a family. I said, if I were the boss of SQ, I would just ask my daughter to break up with her boyfriend if he made a fool of himself at the bidding meeting. Soren Fu's eyes flickered, as if he realized something, and he turned and left. I stared at his back and couldn't help laughing. I hope what I said was not in vain. A few days later, I saw the two of them showing their love on WeChat Moments. After many twists and turns, I have met the right person. Please give me your guidance for the rest of my life. The accompanying picture shows two brightly colored marriage certificates and folded hands. Many of our partners are still unaware of our breakup. Many people left comments below. You and Miss Bai have finally gotten married. Congratulations. When you two get married, you must invite me. Fist bow. I don't know how Soren Fu felt when he saw it, but I gave it a thumbs up from the bottom of my heart. I replied one by one. Mr. Lee has misunderstood. The bride is not me. I'm sorry, Mr. Wang. We're breaking up. After seeing this, my partner sent messages to my friends in embarrassment, and some even asked about my relationship status. As the news got a lot, I simply posted it on my moments to spread the word. My dear friends, Soren Fu and I have broken up due to emotional reasons. Please stop congratulating me, because he is not marrying me. Then he went to Fu Wenxing's circle of friends and replied, congratulations. The partner responded quickly. Within a few minutes, the only comment on his lively circle of friends was my obvious congratulations. After a busy day, when I look at my phone, I just realized that Fu Wenxing and Ivy Song took turns sending me many messages. Fu Wenxing, Nova, why do you have to be so ugly? What good will it do you to save my face? Just delete your moments. It won't be good for others to see it. You don't want others to talk about our years of relationship, do you? I smiled sarcastically and replied, it's no good. I'm willing. Then block him. As for Ivy Song, most of the messages she sent were insults that would not pass muster. Interspersed among them were proof of her love for Soren Fu. I opened it and found out that Soren Fu and she had been hooking up last year. On our anniversary, he lied that he had a social engagement, but it turned out that he had traveled all the way to the next city to celebrate Ivy Song's birthday and confess his love to her at the same time. She is such a fool, handing such a handle to me. I naturally accepted it with a smile and saved the chat records one by one. Then he replied to her slowly, you are so happy. Have you ever thought about what will happen when Soren Fu knows your true identity? The other side replied immediately, how do you know? But it doesn't matter. Han Xing said, no matter who I am, he loves me as a person, not my family. She could believe such words. I really didn't know what to say, so I could only kindly remind her, considering we were both women, Soren Fu can abandon my 6-year relationship with you, so there's no guarantee that you won't become another me. As a result, she broke down. I sent a long paragraph of curse words, implying that I couldn't bear to see her doing well. She also said that they were true love, and that I deserved it because I couldn't hold a man's heart. I am meddling in other people's business. I closed my phone and blacklisted her friends. Be confident in helping others and respect their fate. The day before the bidding results were announced, I met Soren Fu and Ivy Song at the mall. Ivy Song was holding bags of luxury goods and smiling very sweetly, but Soren Fu looked a little forced. I'm not surprised. Others may not know how stingy he is, but I, his ex-girlfriend who has been with him for 6 years, know it. By looking at the brands of luxury goods, I can roughly estimate the prices. He really spent a lot of money. Ivy Song saw me from a distance. Her eyes flashed, and she tried to avoid me, but Soren Fu, not just to show off, or I regret it. pulled her over. Nova, long time no see. Jishu and I are already married, and she's pregnant. You don't have a chance anymore. Pregnant. In order to make the SQ boss help him, he really tried his best and even had a child. I raised my eyes and said, "Oh, pregnancy is such a big deal. Why don't you post on your moments to let everyone congratulate you?" Last time, his partners asked him about the breakup and Ivy's song got really mad. Most of the furnishings in the office were smashed. If my colleague hadn't told me about it out of gossip, I wouldn't have known that this kind of effect could be triggered. Soren Fu's expression froze visibly, and then he turned from embarrassed to proud. "Your little tricks can't shake my position. When the bidding results come out tomorrow, it will be useless even if you cry and beg me to come back." I smiled slightly. "Why should I cry? I think you are the one who should cry. It's not decided yet. How can you be so confident that you will win the bid?" He frowned and said, "Don't be stubborn. With Jishu and the child here, there won't be any problems." He really believed in Ivy Song's fake identity. He didn't even look down at Ivy Song's confused and pale face. During this period, my former colleague gave me a lot of screenshots of their embarrassing moments. There is love and affection between their words. Soren Fu was afraid that others didn't know how much he indulged and doted on Ivy Song. The mobile phone sent me the preparations for the announcement of the bidding results tomorrow. The winning bidder came out, and as I expected, it was not Soren Fu. I curled my lips and stopped entangled with them. Then I'll wait and see. The results are published online. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I sent out the edited article and the fair and transparent voting results. At 8:10, my cell phone started to bombard me with calls from my former colleagues who were gloating over my misfortune. They sent me the video. In the video, Soren Fu stood in the office he had carefully prepared for Ivy Song, with a visibly gloomy expression on his face. "Why didn't your father help me? We are already married, and you are even pregnant. How could he just watch our company go wrong?" Ivy Song's eyes were tearful and she looked fearful and timid. Soren Fu grabbed her wrist and said, "Come on, let's go see your father and ask him to change the result." Ivy Song was timid and didn't dare to speak for a long time, but at this moment, an old man in tattered clothes broke into the company. As soon as he saw Ivy Song, his eyes lit up with excitement. "My dear daughter, I have been looking for you so hard. You come here to enjoy the good life alone, leaving your father to suffer alone." Soren Fu's expression suddenly changed. He asked sharply, "What do you mean? Are you her father?" The old man curled his lips. "How can it be false? Who are you? Are you the rich husband she found? Give me 100,000 yuan to spend first." The video stops abruptly. A colleague sent a WeChat message. "Mr. Fu got physical with Ivy Song later. I was busy trying to stop the fight and didn't record it anymore. Anyway, the company is in chaos right now. I just replied a few words quickly and then started to busy myself with other work." Soren Fu stopped me in the coffee shop I often go to. "Nova, you already knew something, right?" I stared at the coffee in front of me and just felt it wasted. "What can I know?" He stared at me and said, "You already knew that Ivy Song is not the biological daughter of the SQ boss." I didn't say anything and picked up my bag to leave. He pulled my arm hard. His eyes were gloomy, and he looked like he wanted to eat me. My arm hurt, but he kept blaming me. "If you knew it earlier, why didn't you tell me? Are you here to laugh at me? How could you be so vicious? You were the one who deliberately provoked me to marry her at the bidding meeting, right? I'm telling you, if the company is gone, you won't have an easy life." I met his crazy eyes and didn't even notice the pain in my arm. I just felt a chill. I have no doubt that if the company did go bankrupt, he would kill me. He was still going crazy because I was the one whose dad finally showed up. He angrily asked the bodyguard to pull Soren Fu away, and looked at the large red mark on my arm with heartache. "Nova, are you okay?" I shook my head. Soren Fu froze in place the moment he saw my dad, was pushed away by the bodyguards, and fell to the ground. Quite embarrassing. He stood up and looked at me with a surprised look in his eyes. "Nova, do you know Mr. Song?" My dad protected me and snorted. "Know her? This is my daughter." He was stunned for a moment, his eyes filled with disbelief, which then turned into ecstasy. He jumped over the bodyguard and rushed towards me, shouting happily, "Nova, I know I was wrong. I still love you. I will divorce Ivy Song and marry you. Please forgive me." How can our 6-year relationship just end like that? This company is also your hard work. You won't just watch it go bankrupt, right? Please beg your father to give me the cooperation. I am speechless. He signaled with his eyes for the bodyguard to pull him away. Then he stared down at him and sneered. "You have brought this upon yourself. You can't blame anyone else. Originally, I wanted my dad to give the project to our company and give you a helping hand. Even if you kicked me out of the company, I never thought of regretting it. I sighed with regret. But you insist on disgusting me again and again. And even allow Ivy Song to bully me. His face was pale, mixed with regret and pain. But I felt calm and even a little happy. I took my dad's arm and said with a smile, "Dad, let's go." My father nodded. And before leaving, he disgustedly asked the bodyguard to stop him and not let him approach me again. Let him cry and shout behind me, saying that he was wrong. Unfortunately, it's too late. That night, I had a nightmare. I dreamed that he disguised himself as a taxi driver, a food delivery man, and a courier, chasing me again and again, until I was startled awake from my dream. It is only a matter of time before the company goes bankrupt. When that day comes, I don't know how crazy he will be. Will it really cost me my life? I have to strike first. During this period, I heard my colleagues say again and again that he would take out his anger on Ivy Song whenever he was unhappy. Not only verbal abuse, but also domestic violence. Ivy Song was at work. The bruises on her body could not be covered at all. I guess her life was not easy. Touching my sweaty palms, I picked up my phone and removed Ivy Song's WeChat from the blacklist. "Are you interested in cooperating? I will help you get a divorce and send you abroad." In a moment, the other side replied, "Okay." The next morning, I handed a business card to Ivy Song. In the evening, the company, which had been cut off from funds, suddenly resumed normal operations and received several expensive orders. Thanks to this timely help, the company came back to life. Ivy Song told me that during this period, Soren Fu's attitude towards her has become much better, but when things don't go well, he will still hit her. She sent me WeChat messages more than once saying, "I was wrong. I should have listened to your advice earlier." Soren Fu didn't care that I was carrying his child, and he said that it was because of this child that you refused to forgive him. I heard him chatting with his friends. He wanted to get rid of the child and then come to you to make peace. I got goosebumps on my arms. A few days later, she begged me to speed up. My colleague told me that she was hospitalized after being beaten by Soren Fu and had a threatened miscarriage. Ivy Song's father got the news from somewhere and made a scene in the company, even inviting reporters to make a show. If Soren Fu refused to pay to settle the matter, he would make it public. The company has finally come back to life and cannot withstand the slightest turbulence. Soren Fu was forced into a corner and had to spend some money to get rid of him. Then he went to the hospital to vent his anger on Ivy Song. Ivy Song listened to me, recorded the video, and secretly sent the file to me. I opened it and read it. Soren Fu said, "I was fooled by you and abandoned Nova. Otherwise I would have been very successful by now. She is the daughter of the SQ president. If I marry her, SQ will be mine sooner or later." Apart from Soren Fu's impotent rage, there was only Ivy Song crying. Soren Fu also beat people. Ivy Song's stomach with extreme cruelty and purpose. If she hadn't curled up her body and tried hard to protect her belly, I'm afraid she would have lost the baby. This process lasted for more than 10 minutes, until finally, the man seemed to have vented his anger and threw down the things in his hand angrily. Then he grinned, "But it doesn't matter. As long as I take Nova by force and she loses her innocence, she will only marry me. She loves me so much, she will definitely forgive me." Staring at his somewhat crazy and perverted smile in the video, I curled my lips. It's time. 3 days later, the company's first batch of sample goods will be delivered. But when Soren Fu went to pick up the goods with his partners, he found that the shelves were empty and even several machines were missing. Soren Fu has always been stingy. The workers' wages were half of what they received outside. Not only were their wages withheld, but some uneducated workers were also induced to owe indentures. I can't leave even if I want to. The wife and daughter of one of the workers were in a car accident and urgently needed money to save their lives. But Soren Fu did not take it seriously and continued to withhold wages, which led to the death of his wife and daughter due to illness. The worker wanted to seek justice for his wife and daughter, but was beaten out by Soren Fu. They also intended to fire him for leaving his job for 7 days without asking for leave. On the day of his burial, I sent him an expensive urn and paid for a piece of land for his cemetery. Before leaving, the worker knelt down and kowtowed to me. The hatred in his eyes could not be concealed, and he repeated stubbornly, "I want revenge. Revenge for my wife and Nyonyo." They could have survived, but they died in the hospital because they had no money to pay for medical treatment. Boss bye. I know you have a grudge against him. Please help me. The disappearance of these samples is naturally my fault. The samples just disappeared, and Soren Fu was on the verge of default. The partners looked extremely unhappy, and they all blamed him. I was willing to cooperate with you because of Mr. Bai's reputation, but Mr. Fu, forget it. I'll give you one last chance. Submit the order in 5 days, and you'd better not let me down again. Otherwise, we will terminate the contract. Soren Fu apologized profusely before sending the giant Buddha away. As a result, as soon as I arrived at the office and hadn't even sat down, the secretary ran in with a look of horror on his face. The company was sued. The worker took him to court, accusing him of withholding wages for his employees. With witnesses and evidence available, some kind-hearted people spoke up for him on the internet, and he was directly pushed to the top of the hot searches. Ivy Song also took the opportunity to release the recording and video, crying that Soren Fu was a scumbag who abused her despite her pregnancy. Netizens were immediately furious. The verbal and written criticism brought the matter to a new level. This time, the partner couldn't bear it anymore and directly asked to cancel the order. It was truly a disaster for him. The company's capital chain was cut off again. Soren Fu was extremely busy but could not solve the problem at all. He called me from a different number and begged me as soon as he opened his mouth. Nova, this company is our hard work. Can you bear to watch it go down in flames? Ask your father to lend me some money. The company can still be saved. For the sake of our friendship over the years, please help me. I promise not to make the same mistake again. I am your dog and I will be absolutely loyal to you. I was drinking tea in the office when he called me. The partner who broke the contract with him was sitting in front of me, pouring tea in a flattering manner. I curled my lips. If you want to borrow money, you can, I said. If you divorce Ivy Song, I will lend you some money. He had no other options, so he naturally agreed without hesitation. That afternoon, I received a MMS photo of 2 divorce certificates from him. He asked, "We are divorced. When will the money arrive?" At this moment, Ivy Song has already boarded a plane to go abroad. I took out my Alipay account and transferred $1 to him. Then he smiled and replied, "It has arrived." He was silent for a moment, then screamed like a kettle boiling, "Why is there only $1? Nova Bai, are you kidding me?" I said, "I'm not kidding you. I'm giving you 1 piece because this is the only price that garbage is worth." The company declared bankruptcy not long after. I stepped forward to acquire the company, and my hard work was back in my hands. With my connections in the circle and my father's help, the company was soon back up and running and was even better than before. There is no news about Soren Fu. Only cursing text messages were sent to my phone one by one, declaring that he was not dead yet. I gave the information directly to the debt collector. He owed a loan shark, and the interest had compounded to a staggering sum. At that time, I pushed the lender's business card to Ivy Song. She lived up to expectations and persuaded Soren Fu to borrow high-interest loans to run the company. I deliberately arranged the company's order so that Soren Fu would think that he could repay the money quickly and choose to borrow money. Even if the workers had not stolen the samples, the partners would still have withdrawn their investment in other ways. But he didn't expect that he would dig his own grave. Those debt collectors are quite capable. Using the IP address of my text message, they found where Soren Fu is hiding now. He was beaten black and blue. 2 of his fingers were cut off, and 1 of his legs was broken. The next time I saw him was when I cut the ribbon for the company's name change. He was dressed in rags, his face was covered with dust, and he stood in the distance staring at this side. His eyes were gloomy and my hair stood on end. I decisively called the debt collector again. They just happened to be here and nearby. Amidst the cheers, I saw Soren Fu struggling to be put into a van and he disappeared without a trace. Later, I heard from someone. He couldn't pay back the money, so he was sent to Burma by the loan sharks. No one knows whether he is alive or dead.